Join me now as we follow in the footsteps of Vlad Dracula. Dealu Monastery is located on a hill near the old capital city of Targoviste. It was built in the mid-1400s on top of a much older wooden church. Thanks to its proximity to the princely palace, Dealu was often used as a burial place for the voivodes of Wallachia. At least 8 rulers and their family members have been laid to rest in the princely necropolis. Today, Dealu is a peaceful nunnery with a beautiful view of the valley below. Among the notable voivodes buried at the monastery, 2 have a direct connection to Vlad the Impaler: Vladislav II, who was murdered by Vlad Dracula, and Vlad Dracul, Vlad the Impaler's father. I entered the chapel in the inner courtyard and found 2 large sarcophagi in the antechamber. I figured one of these must contain the body of Vlad Dracul, but I was wrong. Even with my limited understanding of Romanian, I was able to decipher the names on the tombstones as belonging to Radu the Great and Michael the Brave. Despite a thorough search of the chapel and the rest of the monastery, I was unable to locate the tombs of the other princes who were supposedly buried there. Feeling quite defeated and unable to solve the mystery of the missing graves, I sat outside the chapel, thinking the problem over in my head. In trying to imagine the location of Vlad Dracul's grave, I asked myself one simple question: where was his son's grave located? The answer? In the floor. I re-entered the chapel and noticed for the first time that blue carpets were covering the floor. After looking over my shoulder to make sure I was alone, I bent down and pulled up the carpet to reveal a hidden tombstone underneath. Although I can't be sure, I probably squealed with delight at this discovery. I quickly pulled up the rest of the carpets, revealing 5 more tombstones, for a total of 6 burial vaults. The text on these burial vaults is in Old Church Slavonic, a dead language that I knew nothing about. So it was impossible for me to know for certain which of these graves might contain the remains of Vlad Dracul. Undeterred, I attempted to translate the inscriptions on my own, and after several hours of careful translation work, I successfully decoded the words Vlad and voivode on 2 separate tombstones. At this point, I knew I needed professional help. I was lucky enough to connect with Anoda Garnberg, an associate professor of Slavic languages at Göteborg's University in Germany. To my eternal delight, she confirmed that my initial translations were correct, and she agreed to help translate the rest of the tombstones for me. As it turns out, Vlad Dracul is not buried in the princely necropolis at all. He was laid to rest on the monastery grounds when it was still just a simple wooden church. As a result, his gravesite has been lost and will probably never be found unless a full-scale excavation is carried out on the property. In the end, I was able to definitively determine the identities of the 7 princely people buried in the necropolis. If you visit Dealu Monastery, don't expect to find the grave of Vlad Dracul. But as you wander around the grounds, know in your heart, at any moment, you may be standing right on top of him.